Here's your Atlanta real estate market update. In all of Metro Atlanta, so the city of Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs, the average amount of days a home would stay on the market before finding a buyer was 10 days in July, 12 days in August, and 13 days in September and October. So buyer demand for homes is certainly decreasing, and it's going to get even less as we head into December and January. In December of last year, the average days on market was 20 days, and in January, it was 30 days. And I would expect something similar to happen this year as we're seeing less buyers on the market. And when it comes to the average sales price of a home in Metro Atlanta, in July, it was $421,000. In August, it was $430,000. In September, it was $415,000, and October, it was $420,000. So home prices have been jumping all over the place for the last few months. And I think one thing that we can get from that is that home prices aren't necessarily decreasing rapidly or increasing rapidly. They're kind of staying stable for the last few months. Now, this is just for Metro Atlanta as a whole. In just a minute, we're going to take a look specifically at areas like Cobb County or Alpharetta and Gwinnett County. But one of the biggest numbers that is surprising many people today is the amount of homes that are sold today versus a couple years ago. In September of 2021, in all of Metro Atlanta, there were 4,340 homes sold. But this year in September, there were only 2,696 homes sold. So this is definitely one of the things that is characterizing the housing market today. There are a lot less buyers, but there are also a lot less sellers. So this means we're seeing a lot less home sale transactions per month. But what does it actually look like to be house hunting right now in this market and submitting offers? Let's talk about what I'm seeing every week as I go house hunting with clients. As always, if you're thinking about moving to Atlanta or you just have any questions about what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. I'm the one who answers the phone. I'm the one who answers those emails. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. But right now, what we're seeing every week as we're going house hunting is that there are quite a few homes for sale, but many of them look like they're not really move-in ready. A lot of sellers are still thinking that this is the housing market of a couple years ago, and they're not really putting a lot of work into getting their home sale ready. And then there are the few sellers who do have their home sell ready. And so the few buyers that are looking in a specific area are going out to see 5 to 10 homes per week, and then they're all pretty much going for that same house that is the best looking one in the area. And I see this pretty much every weekend. It's that home that looks the best, that's the most move-in ready, that always gets the multiple offer situations. And then the other homes that are not as move-in ready, they tend to sit on the market for 30 to 60 days. So some houses are lasting just a couple days on the market, and then there's the other ones that are lasting months on the market. And this is all because most buyers tend to be going for the homes that are move-in ready. So what we're seeing is that you have two options when you're house hunting right now in this market. You can go for the home that looks the best and that is the best value, and you can join the crowd and try to get in with the multiple offers and try to submit the best offer for that home. These listings usually get 30 to 40, sometimes 50,000 above list price. But then all of the other listings that are not as move-in ready, maybe they just need some new flooring, or there may be something superficial about the home that needs some work. You can typically get a deal on those homes because all of the crowd of buyers are not going for that specific house. So the one that needs a little bit of TLC, you can get below list price instead of above list price. You can maybe even get closing costs for that home. You can close on the date that is best preferred for you. You can get more time for an inspection. This is what happens with the homes that have been on the market for a while. Compared to the homes that are brand new to the market and are beautiful and move-in ready, they tend to be sold on the seller's terms. There's not necessarily a right or wrong strategy here. There's two kind of different strategies that we're seeing, and it really just depends on what fits best for you. One reason why there are so few buyers in the market today is obviously because of interest rates. So let's take a look at what interest rates have done in the last few months. At the beginning of September, mortgage interest rates were at about 7.2%, and then the beginning of October, they went up to about 7.7%. But what was super interesting was that during October, they climbed to as high as 8.3%. This shocked many people, and a lot of buyers kind of drew back when interest rates got to that 8% mark. And then in the last few weeks, interest rates have gone back down to about 7.6%, 7.7. Something to keep in mind about interest rates is that while they are kind of tied to the Federal Reserve rate, if people are not applying for a loan because the interest rates have gotten too high, a home loan is just like any other product. If people are not buying that product, they're going to lower the price. So if people are not applying for a loan because mortgage interest rates are going up, then those banks will lower the mortgage interest rate, even though the Federal Reserve rate is still increasing. Okay, now let's talk about what the housing market is looking like, not just in Metro Atlanta as a whole, but specifically for Cobb County. These are cities like Marietta, Smyrna, also Ackworth and Kennesaw. Let's take a look at what the housing market is looking like in those cities. The average days on market for a home in Cobb County in July was 7 days, and then in August, it went up to 8 days. In September, it went to 10 days, and October, it was 11 days. So we're definitely seeing that slow increase in days on market. This means that demand for homes in this area is decreasing little by little and will certainly become less in the holiday season. And then the average sold price in Cobb County in July was $455,000. In August, it was $450,000. In September, it went down to $431,000, and then in October, it was $460,000. So we saw a bit of a decline in home prices there in September, and then it kind of went up a little bit in October, but I would expect in like December and January for home prices to go back down and not really come back up until the spring of 2024. In Alpharetta, we're seeing something similar. In August, days on market were 8 days. In September, it was 6 days. And then in October, again, it was 8 days. Average sold price for a home in Alpharetta in August was $717,000. In September, it was $775,000. In October, it was $725,000. Again, similar situation, home prices kind of going up and down, but in the holiday season, December, January, February, even when buyers are not really in the market, I would expect home prices to go down even farther during that time. Now let's look at Gwinnett County. This would be cities like Duluth, Beaufort, Suwanee, Lawrenceville. Let's see what the housing market is looking like in that area. Average days on market in July in Gwinnett County was 9 days. In August, it was 10 days. And then in September, it jumped up to 15 days. And October back down a little bit to 13 days. So this is a pattern we're seeing all over Metro Atlanta. In September, we had a bit of a decline in home prices and buyer demand. And then in October, that kind of jumped back up. Home prices went up a little bit, demand went up a little bit. And I think we regularly see this every year. In September, it's kind of when the school year starts. And so a lot of families are not really house hunting during that time. But once the school year starts and people are getting settled and the housing market kind of gets back to normal, in October, we see another bit of a rush for homes during the fall season, and we kind of see this every year. Home prices in Gwinnett in July was $435,000. August, again, $435,000. September went down to $429,000. And then in October, home prices were $425,000 in Gwinnett County. What all of these numbers essentially show us is that the cost of living in Metro Atlanta is certainly increasing, not just month after month, but every year. And cost of living is not just the price of a home, it's also things like utilities and gas and groceries. If you want to know more about what the cost of living is in Atlanta, Georgia, check out this video. I'll see you there.